I have tried to let people know what my standards are, and it can be hard in social situations to say, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do this because I'm LDS, like I have certain standards. But when you let them know, like if you let them know beforehand or you let them know in the moment, then they will know like next time that is your standards. And so even though you might offend them once just by saying, no, I can't do that, then they'll know and they'll have that, and so they won't be offended anymore.
I think, at least for me, I guess it depends on the situation, but for me, I feel like sometimes just letting them know that you still love them, because I have friends who have different standards than me, and when we talk about it, I say, well, I believe this, but I just make it clear to them that just because they don't have that same standard as me, I still love them and I still value them, and I don't think of myself as better than them. I think that's really important.
For me, like, prayer used to be a thing that I did because I love God and I wanted to have that communication with Him and have certain, let Him know certain things and ask for certain things. And lately I've been trying to make it just, like, my perspective changed a lot on God and who He is and His influence in my life. And now it's more for me like conversation, like I look forward to those times when I get to talk to Him and tell Him, you know, what I need, and more than just like bless me today, but like help me on this test, help me be able to finish my homework tonight and be able to get to bed on time, and just little things like that.
I have a weird way of remembering prayer. I play the viola and I leave my viola case in front of my door so that if I forget to pray, I trip on it, and then when I trip, I remember I have to pray. Like, that's weird, but when I kneel down, it's like next to me and I'm all, oh, and I move it. And if I didn't kneel down that day, then I trip.
It was hard. So in personal progress, there's a value, I can't remember which one it is, but it said pray morning and night for 2 weeks. And after I was done with that value experience, it became a habit for me. And so even now, like I did that probably 3 years ago, but even now, I remember just because I did that, it became a good habit for me. So, 2 weeks, a month, it takes like that much amount of time to work at it, but it becomes a habit, so.
I kind of think, like Kate was saying, it's super important just to have, just be in the habit of always knowing that, your Heavenly Father is there for you, and just having Him there to help you through everything, so, praying whenever you need it. I think taking notes is really important. And, marking your scriptures, and, just things like that. And just trying to remember it through everything.
For me, it's like seminary, sometimes it almost feels like a free hour during the day, because you're not graded really, and it doesn't count towards attendance. And so I know for me, getting the most out of seminary is every day I remind myself, this is my hour for the Lord. It's really, I struggle a lot with not doing homework that's due that day or working on things, but I've found that as I put my other things aside and I don't do my homework and I just focus, that my other things always just fall into place. So, it's a blessing.
Last year, I had a really good teacher who he would ask so many questions, probably 50 questions every day during the class, and would answer them, and it was just something I did. I'd answer the questions. But this year it was a little bit hard for me because my teacher didn't really ask us questions, and I felt like seminary wasn't as good as it was last year, and I just thought, oh, I have a bad teacher. But I started asking questions, and anytime he asked a question, I'd answer it, and I think that really helps get more out of seminaries when you're asking those questions and trying to answer them, because you get engaged in the lessons and you learn more.
It's true. I just think that seminary, when I finally started understanding what seminary was for, how it brings us closer to the Lord, and how many great things are in the scriptures. Participating in seminary has made me have so much more greater appreciation for the scriptures. And just because seminary teachers just point out all these amazing things that I, in my personal study, just never see. So I think it's really important to participate in seminary, just because you miss stuff. Like not saying that you miss it, but you just don't see it sometimes, and the teachers help you dive into scriptures a little bit more. So
Sing a hymn,
same.
whether out loud or in my head. Like if I'm in a place I don't want to be, or I'm thinking thoughts I don't want to think, I immediately just sing whatever hymn I can think of. It helps.
Similar to that, I have this playlist of all like EFY songs, and I love the EFY songs a lot. So I have those, like I play those all the time, just in the spirit and praying again back to that. It's
Once someone told me that the quickest way to bring the Spirit is to bear testimony, and a lot of times that's hard to, be like, I like to bear my testimony this to people, like, in the middle of the day, but, like, little things, like, I find ways to share experience with my friends, and we actually have a group message called Righteousness, and we just, anytime someone, like, reads a good scripture or finds a good quote, we'll, like, text it in the DM, and it's, like, constant upliftment throughout the day. And it's things you find, and then things other people find, and the things you find by sharing it, it solidifies in your own head, and you get a testimony, and
I feel like, I was just thinking, I have on my lock screen of my phone, I switch it off sometimes, but I either have a picture of the temple or a spiritual quote, so then it's like, if I'm feeling down or I need the Spirit, or just, every time I go on my phone, it reminds me, like, the temple is your goal. The Spirit.
Yeah, so in the last conference, Ponderize was brought up, and I started doing that too, where I'd put a scripture as my lock screen, the scripture that I was ponderizing that week. What was it? It's 10% memorization or something, and like 90% pondering. And so, yeah, same thing with Rachel. Like, every time I look at my phone, I would be like, oh, yeah, this is the scripture, and it would, like, bring me closer to the Spirit. So.